You are beaten. Don't make me destroy you. Join me. If you only knew the power of the dark side. I am your father.
Betrayal doesn't just break relationships, it shatters identities. For Leia, Han, and Obi-Wan, Luke's descent into darkness isn't just a loss of an ally, a friend, or a student. It's a loss of the version of the galaxy they dared to hope for. We're not just analyzing their reactions, we're watching them pick up the pieces of a broken dream and decide, do I keep fighting or let the dark win? Let's break down how each of these echoes reveals the strength and fragility of hope, even when all seems lost. First, Leia's despair. To call Leia Organa resilient is to understate the core of who she is. She survived Alderaan's destruction, Imperial torture, and years of leading a ragtag rebellion, all by clinging to the belief that the galaxy could be better. But Luke's betrayal isn't just another setback, it's a knife to the heart. He's her brother, the family she'd only just found, the one she'd trusted to stand beside her when the fight got hardest. Imagine her in the aftermath of the failed Death Star attack. She's in a cramped rebel shuttle, staring at a holo of Luke, young, grinning, holding his first lightsaber, and the image glitches into the man he is now. Black uniform, crimson blade, standing beside Palpatine. She doesn't cry at first. She's too busy rallying what's left of her troops, too proud to show weakness. But at night, when the shuttle's engines hum and the crew sleeps, she locks herself in the cargo hold and pulls out a small jar of Tatooine sand, something Luke gave her, joking. So you'll always remember where I came from. She holds it until her hands shake, and for the first time in years, she whispers, "What did we do wrong?" Despair doesn't make her quit. It makes her angrier. She refuses to let Luke's choice erase the millions who still suffer under the Empire. The rebellion shrinks from a fighting force to a network of refugees and spies. But Leia leads it anyway. She stops talking about winning and starts talking about surviving. She smuggles families off Imperial-controlled planets, hides Jedi relics in abandoned temples, and broadcasts tiny encrypted messages across the galaxy. You are not alone. Her despair isn't a surrender, it's a fuel. She fights not because she thinks she'll win, but because letting the Empire break her would mean Luke was right to join them. And that's a truth she can't live with. Sometimes, she hears rumors. Luke is on Coruscant, Luke is hunting rebel cells, and her hands tighten around her blaster. But she never pulls the trigger when they cross paths. And they do, once, on a frozen moon. He calls her traitor, and she calls him lost. And when he raises his lightsaber, she doesn't fight back. She turns and runs. Because killing him would kill the last piece of the brother she loved. Leia's despair is messy, painful, and unyielding. It's the sound of a leader refusing to let hope die, even when it's just a flicker. Then, Han's choice. Han Solo has always been a man of self-preservation. He joined the rebellion for money at first, then for Leia, then for Luke, but never because he believed in the cause. So when Luke betrays them, when the Death Star survives, when the rebellion collapses into a whisper, Han's first instinct is to run. He's in the Millennium Falcon's cockpit, checking the hyperdrive, Lando beside him saying, "We can go back to smuggling." The Empire doesn't care about two guys with a fast ship. And for a minute, he almost does. He thinks about the credits, the quiet, the freedom to not care. But then he sees Leia, pale, tired, but still handing out rations to a group of orphan Twi'leks, and something in him shifts. Han has never been a hero, but he's a man who hates bullies and the Empire. And Luke, now, is the biggest bully in the galaxy. He doesn't become a freedom fighter overnight. He starts small, using his smuggling routes to move rebel supplies past Imperial blockades, no charge. Then he teaches young rebels how to hotwire Imperial ships, how to outrun TIE fighters, how to lie to a stormtrooper without breaking a sweat. He still jokes, "Don't get mushy on me, princess," but there's an edge to it now. He's not doing this for Luke. He's doing it for the kid Luke used to be, the one who saved him from the Death Star in another life, another timeline. He's doing it for Leia, because she's too stubborn to ask for help, and someone has to have her back. Once, they're ambushed by Imperial troops on Corellia, and Han takes a blaster bolt to the shoulder to cover Leia's escape. As she patches him up, she says, "You didn't have to do that." He grins, wincing. "Yeah, well, someone's got to keep you from getting yourself killed." Han's choice isn't about grand gestures. It's about showing up. Even when it's stupid, even when it's hopeless. He doesn't believe in the rebellion's mission anymore. He believes in the people. Leia, the orphans, the farmers just trying to feed their families. And that's enough. He never becomes a hero, in the way Luke was supposed to be. But he becomes something quieter, more real. A man who chooses to care, even when caring hurts. Finally, Obi-Wan's burden. Obi-Wan Kenobi has carried guilt for decades. Guilt over failing Anakin, guilt over hiding Luke from his father, guilt over the fall of the Jedi Order. But Luke's betrayal? It's the weight that breaks him. He's on Tatooine, in the ruins of the Lars homestead. When he hears the news, Luke has joined the Empire. The Death Star stands. The rebellion is gone. He sits on the charred remains of Owen's porch, staring at the twin suns. And for the first time in 20 years, he talks to Qui-Gon's ghost. "I failed him," he says, his voice cracking. "Just like I failed Anakin. I thought I could protect him, but I pushed him too hard. I hid too much." Obi-Wan's burden isn't just guilt. It's a sense of cosmic failure. He'd spent his life trying to atone for the past, and now the past has repeated itself. He stops wandering Tatooine, stops watching over Luke, not that he needs it anymore. He locks himself in the old Jedi temple on Coruscant, abandoned, dusty, filled with the ghosts of his friends, and doesn't come out for weeks. He reads old Jedi texts, looking for answers. But all he finds are his own mistakes. He should have told Luke about Anakin sooner. Should have taught him balance instead of fear. Should have been a father instead of a guardian. But then, one night, he finds a holocron Qui-Gon's hidden in a wall. The hologram flickers to life, and Qui-Gon says, "Guilt is a prison, Obi-Wan, but redemption is a choice." It's a small thing, but it wakes him up. He leaves the temple, not to fight, but to preserve. He collects Jedi artifacts, lightsabers, holocrons, texts, and hides them in remote systems where the Empire and Luke can't find them. He finds young Force sensitives, kids with the same spark Luke had, and teaches them in secret not to be Jedi, but to be kind, to use their gifts to help, not hurt. He never sees Luke again, but he thinks about him often. Not the Sith Lord, but the boy who used to ask questions about the stars. Obi-Wan's burden doesn't go away, but it becomes a purpose. He doesn't atone for his mistakes by fixing them. He atones by making sure no one else makes the same ones. He becomes a ghost almost, moving through the galaxy quietly, leaving small seeds of hope wherever he goes. And in that, he finds a kind of peace. The echoes of betrayal aren't just about loss. They're about what we do when the people we love let us down, when the dreams we chase crumble, when the galaxy feels like it's drowning in darkness. Leia's despair becomes resilience. Han's self-preservation becomes loyalty. Obi-Wan's guilt becomes purpose. None of them win in the way the rebellion once hoped. The Empire still rules. Luke is still a Sith. The galaxy is still broken. But they keep going, because betrayal doesn't have to be the end. It can be a beginning. The moment you realize that hope isn't something someone else gives you, it's something you choose, even when it's hard, even when it's lonely, even when the person who is supposed to stand with you is standing against you. Sometimes, late at night, Leia looks at the jar of Tatooine sand, and Han polishes the Millennium Falcon's blasters, and Obi-Wan reads a Jedi text to a group of wide-eyed kids. And in those moments, the echoes of Luke's betrayal fade just for a second, and they hear something else. The quiet, unbreakable sound of people refusing to let the dark win. That's the truth of betrayal. It can break you, but it can also make you stronger. It can make you remember why you fought in the first place. And in that remembering, hope finds a way to breathe again. This isn't just a story of Imperial victory or Jedi defeat. It's a study of how absence shapes a galaxy. The absence of Jedi hope, the absence of resistance, and the quiet, stubborn absence of surrender in the hearts of ordinary people. We're not just analyzing a dark timeline, we're asking, what happens when the light everyone counted on goes out? And can anything grow in the soil of absolute despair? Let's break down how each pillar of this darkness reveals the galaxy's fragility and its unexpected resilience. First, the Jedi's extinction. The Jedi weren't just warriors or monks, they were a promise. A promise that the Force could be used for balance, that justice might outlast tyranny, that someone would stand between the vulnerable and the powerful. For decades after Order 66, that promise lingered in the shadows, in Obi-Wan's quiet watch over Tatooine, in Yoda's exile on Dagobah, in the handful of Jedi survivors hiding in remote systems, passing down teachings to Force-sensitive children in secret. But Luke Skywalker's fall wasn't just another Jedi lost, it was the promise broken. He wasn't just a survivor. He was the chosen one's son, the one everyone believed would finish what Anakin started and restore the Order. When he turned to the dark side, he didn't just join the Empire, he became its Jedi hunter, and that made all the difference. Imperial stormtroopers could never track Jedi the way Luke could. He knew their hiding spots, taught to him by Obi-Wan, their rituals. He'd studied Jedi texts as a boy, even the way they used the Force to mask their presence. He could feel it like a fingerprint. Imagine an old Jedi master, Vokara Che, hiding on Felucia, teaching 3 young Force sensitives to meditate instead of fight, only for Luke to walk through her door, crimson lightsaber humming. He doesn't just kill her, he makes the children watch. This is what happens to Jedi, he says, to those who cling to lies about balance. By the time he's done, there are no more Jedi left. Not just the ones who can fight, but the ones who can teach, who can remember, who can whisper the old stories. The Empire burns every Jedi holocron, melts down every lightsaber they find, and bans the very word Jedi from being spoken. But the extinction isn't just physical, it's cultural. Parents stop telling their kids about the Guardians of the Galaxy because talking about Jedi is a crime. Force-sensitive children learn to suppress their gifts to pretend they can't feel the Force at all because the alternative is being taken by Luke's Inquisitors. The Jedi aren't just gone, they're forgotten. And that's the real tragedy. The galaxy doesn't just lose protectors, it loses the idea that protection is even possible. Next, the Empire's Golden Age. Though golden is a lie, polished by fear and propaganda. For the Empire, this era is a dream. No more rebel fleets, no more Jedi, no more planets daring to say no. Palpatine's face is everywhere on holograms in city squares, on the sides of Star Destroyers, even on the ration packs given to children. The Empire calls it unity. The galaxy calls it a cage. Let's paint the picture. On Coruscant, once a bustling hub of diverse cultures, every street now has stormtroopers patrolling, every building flies the Imperial crest. Schools teach that the Republic was weak, that the Jedi were traitors, that Luke Skywalker is a hero who saw the light. On Tatooine, moisture farmers are forced to sell 90% of their water to the Empire, and anyone who complains disappears, taken to re-education centers no one ever returns from. On Mon Cala, the ocean planet cities are now military outposts, and the Mon Calamari are forbidden from sailing their own seas. The Empire's control isn't just military, it's total. They monitor holocalls, censor news, and reward citizens for reporting dissidents. A term that includes anyone who jokes about the Emperor, or sings an old Republic song, or even looks at a Luke Skywalker poster with anything less than adoration. But the worst part? The galaxy starts to believe it's permanent. People stop looking for rebels, stop hoping for rescue, stop even imagining a different life. A mother tells her daughter, this is just how things are, because it's easier than admitting that things could be better and that she's too scared to fight for it. Luke is the face of this despair. He's not just an enforcer, he's a symbol of inevitability. When people see him, tall, cold, his crimson lightsaber at his side, they don't just fear him, they give up. The Empire's Golden Age isn't about prosperity, it's about compliance. And for a while, it works. The galaxy is quiet, too quiet. But then there are the seeds of a new rebellion, and they're nothing like the rebellion that came before. The old rebellion was loud, starfighters, battles, grand speeches about freedom. This new one is quiet. It's hidden in the cracks of the Empire's perfect cage, in the small, unplanned acts of defiance that no stormtrooper can stop, no propaganda can erase. It starts with a smuggler named Kira, who diverts a cargo of Imperial rations to a starving colony on Ryloth, even though getting caught means death. It starts with a teacher on Naboo, who tells her students the real story of the Jedi in a whisper, after class, using a tattered book she hid in her floorboards. It starts with a stormtrooper named TK-421, who looks the other way when a family of refugees slips past his checkpoint, because he remembers what it was like to be hungry too. These aren't heroes. They're ordinary people, smugglers, teachers, soldiers, who've had enough of pretending the cage is comfortable. What makes this rebellion different? It has no leader, no fleet, no grand plan. It's not trying to defeat the Empire. It's trying to survive, to hold on to the parts of humanity the Empire wants to erase. A group of kids on Tatooine collects old Jedi toys, hidden in attics, passed down from grandparents, and plays Jedi versus Sith in the desert, even though they're not supposed to know what a Jedi is. A group of musicians on Corellia write songs about the boy from Tatooine who forgot where he came from, songs they sing in backroom cantinas, with the lights low so the stormtroopers don't hear. A group of farmers on Hoth sabotages an Imperial sensor array by planting ice flowers in its circuits. Small, harmless, but a way to say, we're still here. These seeds don't grow fast. They don't make headlines, but they grow. Because the Empire made a mistake, it thought fear would erase hope. But hope isn't a grand gesture. It's a choice to keep going, even when everything says you should stop. It's a mother teaching her kid to read, even when the Empire says reading subversive books is a crime. It's a smuggler risking her life for a box of rations, even when she'll never meet the people she's feeding. It's a stormtrooper breaking the rules, even when he knows the penalty is death. The galaxy consumed by darkness isn't a galaxy without light. It's a galaxy where light has to hide. The Jedi are gone, but their ideas linger in the way a kid shares his last bite of food with a friend, in the way a teacher risks everything to tell the truth, in the way a smuggler chooses to help instead of profit. The Empire's golden age is a facade, because you can't rule over people's hearts, not forever. And Luke? He's the Empire's greatest weapon, but he's also its greatest weakness. Every time he raises his lightsaber to kill a defenseless Jedi, every time he enforces the Empire's cruelty, he reminds a few more people why they can't give up. A farmer on Tatooine sees Luke's hologram and thinks, that boy used to play in my fields. Now he's a monster, and I won't let my son become him. A teacher on Naboo hears Luke talk about order and thinks, order without kindness is just a prison, and I won't let my students rot in it. These are the seeds. Small, fragile, but unbreakable. A galaxy consumed by darkness isn't a story of defeat. It's a story of endurance. It's a reminder that even when the brightest stars go out, the sky is still full of smaller ones. Stars that don't shine as bright, but don't burn out as fast. The Empire can control the galaxy's ships, its cities, its laws, but it can't control the choices people make in the dark, to be kind, to be brave, to remember. And in those choices, the seeds of a new rebellion grow, not to fight the Empire today or tomorrow, but to outlive it. Because darkness can consume the galaxy for a time, but it can never consume hope. Not really.